And this is what Sargon criticizes us as mainstream normies for. We take the word of experts. We take the word of climate scientists. We believe them. We don't know how climate science works. We haven't checked out all the numbers. We haven't like gone over their research and seen. We haven't looked up all their sources. Do their sources say what they say the sources say? Are the sources good? Do the sources use good methodology? We haven't done that legwork. And you fucking roast us for that shit.
Marxism, educating people, is doing nothing. As opposed to some complete nobody jerk off on Twitter with 150 followers who can't cite a single thing.
I don't want to be that mean to Ben Burgess.
So you know what? I'm not taking
literally never watched Sargon on stream. Oh my god. But the little dudes come up and I just naturally am like, little dudes. Thank you so much for the follow trick. O? Akkad Daily, okay. What is the... Like, I cannot find that shit that, like... There was a clip that Vosh watched today, and it was, like, making me rage, and I wanted to watch it on stream, but I cannot find it now. Somebody gave me, like, a Stalin one? Oh, the Stalin one, okay. Oh shit, it's like, it fucking said evidence of voter fraud. You know why I didn't see it though? Is because it said Stalin. It said Stalin, and I'm like, that can't be what I'm looking for. That can't be what I'm looking for. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change our window because I know that Sargon's chat is probably gonna have some fucking Nazis in it. So let's not see what the Nazis are gonna be saying during this stream. Let's just, oh my god, fuck. Close the Nazis right out of that. There we go, okay. And just have a big old Sargon. A nice big Sargon. Okay, here we go. Hey, Yetsny.
Oh goodness, I think I'm live.
Yetisny.
Once again, it didn't tell me.
Oh, that was awkward.
Right.
So, like,
Can
academic anarchist, is there like a good part of this video to turn to? This is like a stream.
Let the cope commence. Yes, yes. This will be a heavy cope stream, which is, I guess, what you could call.
Well, he's starting pretty quickly.
Banner was flying
he's going right
over
into
an Everton versus Manchester
United. But let me know if there's any really good timestamps that I should be hitting.
MAGA. What would inspire someone to do that? I just find that really interesting. In a foreign country, they're like, we can see that you cheated. It's an interesting statement.
Yeah, no, you can easily see that Biden, obviously Biden cheated.
Phrase used a lot, as you can see in the title of this stream. There's no evidence of...
I mean, more to the point, like, Hunter Biden cheated with his laptop from hell, and it's VirOS. It's a completely virus composed operating system. He hacked the election, chat. He hacked the election with, like, the dirtiest computer, the dirtiest laptop ever.
Voter fraud in the US elections that have yet to be resolved. Despite what the media will tell you, nobody has actually been declared president or confirmed as anything. And I hate this phrase. I find it really annoying because it's so...
In the same way that, like, when, you know... when they declared it for Trump, in the same way that no one was declared president then, right? Does he understand that or not? I'm not sure.
So flagrantly dishonest. There is such a wealth of evidence that is, at least at the very bare minimum, enough to warrant an investigation.
Okay, chat.
Each individual piece
this
that I'm going to show you
probably going to be a YouTube
will
video.
warrant an investigation.
So
I wasn't going to do a stream
my,
tonight. I'm actually really shattered now.
I got to be on my best behavior. Hi, YouTube.
I've had actually a really rough day. I'll explain at the end. I won't get into it now, but it's.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to say like and subscribe and hit that bell to make sure you get those notifications.
But I've got so many tabs that I want to go through. There's so much stuff that I really feel that we should at least be able to point to and say, look, you know, he went through.
No, I don't know. What's worse, that or begging for subs?
Because this is quite incredible. And
no, I hope I'm not annoying with that.
I think good old Uncle Joe really had it down when he said it's not the people who vote that count.
Oh, Uncle Joe, I gotcha.
There's definitely something to that. That's definitely describing an aspect of reality, unfortunate as that might be, because
I mean, I can see why people watch him now, like from a parasocial like perspective. Like it's like they just want to hang out with this guy, right?
I'm a mortal enemy of the sort of thing that Joe Stalin wanted. I despise communism and fascism. I want them
just kind of vibe with this guy. Okay.
Consigned to the dustbin.
I've literally never like watched a Sargon video. Like
history, as it were. But when they say something that is correct,
Yachesny's correct. I think Sargon got banned from Twitter. He was pretending to be Robin Hood. That's right. I remember that. Yes.
Can't simply deny it.
The new sound commands.
Anyway,
wait, what? Wait, you can see sound commands. So the sound commands work. Like, are the sound commands actually there? I don't actually know that for 100% that I set them up right.
With the clip of Joe Biden saying this.
You're the first one who's mentioned sound commands, so.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud.
Wait, I wonder if I could just put a free one up. Oh wait, but then, oh yeah, then everyone would be able to spam it. And if the fucking trolls found out about it, oh my god.
In the history of American politics. Secondly, we're in a situation
now.
Wait, what is he laughing about?
I mean, to be honest with you, at this
funny?
point, I do believe he would just come out and say it because it seems the game is so rigged. But this is being claimed to have been. I mean, it's been taken out of a live stream he was doing or an address he was doing, talking about institutions against voter fraud. Now, I'm not going to go into that particularly. Let's just assume that was a Freudian slip. You know, he was mistaken, and what he meant to say is that an anti-fraud organization. They just happen to have. It just happens to have been a really poorly timed slip of the tongue. But you know, it could just be that. Maybe he's old.
Wait, what?
He just forgets he's not supposed to.
Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Secondly, we're in a situation
now. I mean, to be honest with you, at this point, I do believe he would just come out and say it because it seems the game is so rigged. But this is being claimed to have been. I mean, it's been taken out of a live stream he was doing or an address he was doing, talking about institutions against voter fraud. Now, I'm not going to go into that particularly. Let's just assume.
Yeah, voter fraud organizations. Oh, you see them? Okay, so they do exist. Okay,
that was.
They're not like obtrusive. That's the thing is like I set these things up, but I have no idea what they look like on your end. So I'll have to take your word for
it. You know, he was mistaken, and what he meant to say is that an anti-fraud organization. They just happen to have. It just happens to have been a really poorly timed slip of the tongue. But you know, it could just be that. Maybe he's old and he just forgets he's not supposed to say that, but who knows? But the thing is, there are some real questions about this, and this is where we get into the long grind of the things that are genuinely suspicious.
So those weren't the real questions. That's not the thing that's really suspicious. Okay, that's not your evidence. Good.
About this election, there is certainly evidence that would suggest, and in and of itself, demands further investigation. The place I would start with is the fact that Biden has, as I can see, broken all the electoral records. Joe Biden, the guy who accidentally said we've got the most extensive voter fraud organization in history. The guy who couldn't get 20 people to turn up to his rallies. The guy who literally just existed. The New York Times wrote an article saying we don't need anything from you, Biden, other than stay alive and exist as a candidate. This guy, the least inspiring guy in the world got the
I think I've heard, yeah,
largest share of votes ever. That's amazing. That's
No, it's not. They had fucking vote by mail. It's not amazing at all.
Genuinely amazing.
And also people care. Like, people either really, really like Trump or they really, really don't like Trump. And if you really, really don't like Trump, you're probably out there voting for Biden.
74.8 million votes. So
or voting for Biden from the comfort of your own home, right? It's like totally easy.
Did he dunk on Obama? He dunked on him by nearly 5 million votes. That is amazing. And the thing is, Trump, I think...
I mean, you're right. Yeah, he is Sargon, don't care, Akkad.
What was it? The second highest, like over 70 million? He beat Obama with his turnout. But Biden just happened to get that extra sort of 4 or 5 million
votes. And they like can't believe that. Yeah, he just happened to. Oh my god, you're acting like completely oblivious.
Sometimes like, wow, that's amazing. You know what, the passion and engagement that people have.
You're completely oblivious to this, huh?
That's incredible. But I was watching Academic Agent's video. He just put this out today. Definitely recommend checking this out. Analyzing US election 2020 results and turnout data. He's highlighted some really interesting phenomena that we can see from the numbers, that the official government numbers. To be brief, what he's showing here in the highlighted lines is the turnout difference in these states. Now, in Nevada and Ohio, this is actually down by 7.3% and 1%. And in Arizona, Florida, Michigan, they're up, but not by a huge amount. In Minnesota, 14.5% up. In Pennsylvania, 14.6% up. And in Wisconsin, 20% higher voter turnout than the previous
elections. It's tiny. You only see it if you hover.
That's amazing. That's genuinely incredible, isn't it? Like,
okay,
that is
cool.
Mass mobilization.
Yeah.
Like, how many hundreds of thousands, nay, millions of votes extra?
There's probably a way for me to look at it. I probably just have to, like, go into it without logging in or something, right?
It must be where Biden got his extra 4 or 5 million votes from, right? I mean, where else is it going to have come from, if not for this huge increase? Like, staggering. It's staggering. But yeah, so... the way that they came in, I think, is definitely of most significance. As Associated Press show, graph shows thousands of ballots reported at once overwhelmingly for Biden. There were
me too.
Chunks of 20 to 100,000 that would just come in.
Notice how the vid is 5 minutes. Anything beyond that is too long for Sargon. You should know that Sargon never reads things properly. Keep that in mind. Oh, so you should, when he's reading stuff, you shouldn't just listen to what he's saying. You should be reading it along with and see if he, like, messes something up, right? Graph shows over 100,000 votes for Biden in Wisconsin came out of nowhere. The assessment, missing context. Milwaukee didn't finish counting absentee ballots until 3 a.m. The outstanding ballots at that point included 169,000 from Milwaukee, overwhelmingly broke for the Democrat. Based on the counting of in-person votes, President Donald Trump initially had the lead in Wisconsin on election night, but once all votes were counted, Biden picked up the win. The counting of those outstanding ballots shows up as a big surge in the tally, but those votes didn't come out of nowhere.
And I could have actually gone and got video of people carrying in just boxes at 4 a.m. or somewhere between 4 and 5 a.m. at certain polling stations, in this case in Wisconsin, where you can see it just literally ramps up the graph. Whereas otherwise they'd come in at a fairly organic rate. You can see they both raise slightly in certain points where legitimate votes, it would seem, have come in, and then suddenly just 100% for Biden. Now, 100% for anything is totally suspect, and the sort of result that you get
do we actually have information saying it's 100% for Biden, or do we just have this dumb graph?
North Korea, like, it's just a fact of life that even if someone is massively, overwhelmingly popular, you will still have like a percentage of people who will, I guess, out of objection or whatever, go.
Sargon is padding this video to add watch time 100%. God damn it, Sargon. Why you gotta do me like this? Okay, I don't want to spend gold star Sargon. Hey, Sargon is reading beyond headlines. That's a big step for him. Is that the reporting error? I would like that's a possibility too.
go and cast their vote to the opposite. You can see that in any kind of metric, I mean, look at the likes and dislikes on a YouTube video. Like, there'll always be a small minority.
That's actually not true. When I get likes and dislikes on my videos, sometimes I get a bunch of dislikes. Sometimes I get a bunch of likes. In fact, usually this is how it goes. I get like 10 likes while, like, you know, my subscribers find the video, and then I'll get like some more likes when Reddit finds the video, and then like 4chan will find the video or something, and I'll get a bunch of dislikes. Yeah, it does actually come in droves.
See if people are actually like, yeah, I hate this, downvote. It's like, I mean, I don't think I have downvoted videos, but only as a political act. But I would just click off a video if it was something I wasn't, I didn't know what it was and I just wasn't interested. I'd just click off it. I wouldn't bother downvoting it.
I mean,
so these people who I would guess are invested in saying,
I feel like the right wingers downvoting my Lauren Southern video actually helped it.
No, I've made my principled objection, and I respect that. I think that's a worthy thing to do. Having a principled objection and voicing it is the heart of it.
Because YouTube just sees that as like people are engaging with this video.
Democratic process. But it's weird how just 100,000 ballots come in and not one person has got that principled objection.
Does he actually have proof that there was like 100,000 pure Biden ballots that came in at once? Or is this what people think was like, there was a correction, there was like a error correction? Yeah, a jump like that happens in statistics if polling location calls in with their statistics after counting the votes. Like if they count a large number of votes and just call them in all at once, a jump in dislikes seems suspicious. It's not that difficult thing to imagine that people who voted for Biden, Democrats, did so mostly by mail, when it had been clear. Yeah, and the other thing that he hasn't shown us is that this is really, like, as far as I can see, this is just like a fucked up graph. Look at that. Why does the red line disappear? Where did is the red line direct? No, it just like this isn't a good graph. Like this is like, it's missing information. It's missing a lot of information.
It's just weird. Just really.
Yeah, downvotes increase engagement, help you with the algorithm. Downvoting is a political act. Downvoting is actually helps a video in the algorithm. I only ever, yeah, totally true. Totally true.
Really weird. Really, really makes me think. And that's, I mean, that in and of itself is definitely something to investigate. 100,000 ballots have turned up, all for Biden? That's a question. If
I hate a video, I start fighting in the comment section. Yeah, no, because that doesn't help at all.
Really, really, that's a red flag has gone up there.
Hey, chat, let me use some reverse psychology on you. Don't do any fighting with the chuds in my comment sections on YouTube. Don't go start any fights with the chuds in the comment sections, okay?
We've already got a couple.
Don't go to those videos, especially that Lauren Southern video and
red flags already. Massive voter turnout.
Dunk on the chuds like I do. Don't do
certain Democrat-controlled areas. Right, okay, that's weird. Most votes ever. Okay, that's weird. And then we have another red flag, which is hundreds of thousands.
It's absolutely not. Is he being purposefully obtuse? I don't get it.
Being reported all at once just for one candidate. Right, that's really weird. The statisticians have said this is like flipping a coin and getting heads 100 times. I guess Biden is just that lucky. I guess he's just so lucky. And
that's his freaking stream alerts. Ugly, Sargon. What is that? What the hell's wrong with your stream alerts?
It's nothing to do with the massive voter fraud organization he claims to have created. Just really lucky, right? But then you get the sort of local news reports. This is from newstalk1130.iheart.com. It's a local Wisconsin
Sargon is
newspaper.
pathologically
Wisconsin clerks may have unlawfully altered thousands of absentee ballots.
He genuinely believes what he's saying.
Multiple sources tell the Daniel O'Donnell show municipal clerks and vote counters across states simply filled out witness signatures themselves. Acting on false and unlawful advice from Wisconsin Elections Commission, these clerks may have inadvertently invalidated thousands of absentee votes. The statute is very clear. If an absentee ballot doesn't have a witness address on it, it's not valid. That ballot is not valid. Weird how they'd be literally instructing them to break the law. That's really weird, isn't it? Really gets the noggin jogging. And it just happens to be in that district that had the highest percentage turnout change, 20 extra percent. What a shock. I mean, the very fact that the people overseeing it had given them unlawful advice, that again, red flag, just shoots right up, doesn't it? I mean, more evidence that some kind of foul play may be at work here, and it might be worth us actually getting an investigation done. I mean, just for no other, the totally non-partisan question: should the integrity of the elections be secured? Of course it should. Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to be like, no, we should have insecure elections, so the possibility of people cheating is much greater than it otherwise would be?
It's just like you're insisting on a much higher standard of certainty for your fucking daddy, for your fucking parasocial bond, Donald Trump, okay? That's what's disturbing. Is that you have this unbelievably, like, it's like somebody that, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you want to make sure, but at this point, you're just, like, not accepting the results. Like, the statistics do give us certainty. In any election, any other election, the candidate in Trump's place would have conceded by now. This is you being a special little snowflake and not accepting reality. This is you not realizing that facts indeed do not care about your feelings. And that, I guess, reality in this case has a liberal bias.
Going to say that. Only the kind of people I would suggest...
And no, Sargon, I don't mean classically liberal.
...to have an interest in cheating would say that. So I think that, you know, we as good moral democratic people who believe...
But that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're trying to do by not accepting the results. You're the one that's cheating. You're the one who's gaming the fucking system.
The democratic process and the system, the integrity of the system, would want to safeguard the integrity of that system.
Alt math.
When you have the overseers of the Democrat...
I love the still image.
The polling booths.
He looks genuinely confused.
Advocating that people break the law, worthy of investigation at the very least, is it not? You know.
Wait, so what is the allegation? Like, it is, and I think, like, on a lot of these things they are investigating them. Okay, so here's an example. Like, I actually listened, and maybe we'll watch this at some point. Legal Eagle made a video that goes over every single allegation of voter fraud. And, like, a good example of these allegations were, like, a woman claimed that her mail-in ballot turned up missing. She suspected her roommate had stolen it and used it to vote. And she went to a judge, and the judge said, okay, so who's your roommate? And she said, oh no, I don't want to get them in trouble. I just want them to stop the election. What the fuck, bitch? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? This is the kind of shit that they get. They come in and it's like, okay, so yeah, you know, if this happened, if somebody stole your vote, we need to prosecute this case. We need to know who the offending party is. Who is this bad person, this awful Democratic roommate of yours that stole your vote and tried to vote in your place? Who is this person? And she won't fucking tell, because she knows if she tells that they will find out that this shit never happened. All she's trying to do is throw a monkey wrench in the machine that puts the president that got the most electoral votes into the White House. She's like, no, not this time. Not this time. We are not allowing that to happen.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Make an exception because Trump's special.
What a good old Joe Biden might say.
Trump makes you feel special
about that. But I think that's...
He's like the fucking Mr. Rogers of white supremacy.
Something worthy of investigating. And then you get the videos of them just appearing to fill out the ballots. I mean, it's very blurry, so you can't really see exactly what's going on, but you can see that they're filling in the top of each of the lists, which is the Democratic voter, the Democratic candidate, and you can see them just doing it. Just does she not realize she's been filmed? I mean, what's going on here? I'm not saying this is proof of anything.
Yo, it was. I still think it was Hunter. I still think it was Hunter Biden that hacked the election, or maybe Hunter Biden, like maybe he voted multiple times. No, here's the thing. Hunter Biden sucked a bunch of women's feet, and every woman whose feet he sucked, like she was like just passed out in ecstasy from the toe sucking, and then he went and grabbed her ballot and voted in her name. That's how the election got stolen.
This is evidence that something strange is happening that makes you want to know more. It makes you ask more questions. Again, we're not saying
filling in light marks. Nuance, bro. Of course it would be nuance, bro. Of course it would be nuance, bro. Seriously though, chat, can we get a source on this? I have a feeling there's more to the story, that like when we look into this, we're gonna find out that this was a different year, or this was a thing where they're testing the ballots, or there's something in here that Nuance Bro isn't telling us. My spidey sense, chat, my spidey sense is acting up.
Really done anything wrong here, because I haven't got any proof, concrete, that I could say
Hunter Biden fucked millions of Americans for the Biden vote. I just wasn't so lucky. Aww.
You point to in a court of law and be like, yeah, this X person did Y act, therefore Z crime. But what we have is lots of evidence that definitely warrants for...
Shouldn't we be able to capitalize on their stupidity, dang it? A lot of people who thought they could vote and made... A lot of it is people who thought they could vote and made an earnest mistake. Oh, the voter fraud? Yeah, no, we're talking, like... Rudy Giuliani talked about, like, what did he say? Did he say, like, 6 incidents or something? Like, they're always talking about, like, under 100 incidents.
Further investigation.
And in their mind, it's like, well, look, if we found 100, or, you know, they didn't find 100, because they found, like, it's like numbers like 6, 12, 16, things like this, right? Like, if we found 16, we found 50. If we found 50, we found 100. Like, it's just like, in their mind, they just like go from like, you know, there's this many reported to like, oh, well, there must be so many more. We just have to find them. And if we can find them, then we can invalidate the results of this pesky election.
I think that
because that's really all their interest. Just that, like that lady, she wasn't interested in getting justice. She wasn't interested in getting her vote back. She wasn't interested in, like, you know, getting, like, you know, her this election criminal roommate of hers, like, put in jail where he can't steal any more elections. She was just interested in stopping the count. She was just interested in stealing the election. That's all these people are trying to do. They're like literally, Trump voters are literally the person that comes at you in a bar yelling, "I don't want any trouble," right? You're literally doing what you're accusing your opponent of doing. You were literally trying to steal the election right now.
I think questions should be answered. I don't think we should just carry on. But anyway.
I think I'm just asking questions. I just don't. Can we find some information? Does anybody have information on that Nuance Bro? Like the video?
Apparently, I haven't heard of this site called Just the News, so all of the others I've no problem with. This one I don't know, but let's just see what they have to say. Administrative changes in Wisconsin election put tens of thousands of votes in question. From allowing clerks to fix spoiled ballots and permitting voters to escape ID rules, Wisconsin election officials took actions that were not authorized by the legislature. That's interesting. So apparently they permitted local county election clerks to cure spoiled ballots by filling in missing addresses, which we covered earlier, exempted as many as 200,000 citizens from voter ID rules, allowing them to claim COVID-19 panic caused them to be indefinitely confined, and failed to purge 130,000 names from out.
So far, as it's been tracked many decades, I think it's like there were like 1,000 cases over like multiple decades.
Dated voter rolls as required by law.
And like honestly, like in modern times, most of the voter like fraud is actually Republicans thinking that voter fraud is easy and common and happens all the time, and that Democrats are doing it, so why don't we just do it back to them? And they do it, and they find out why it doesn't happen all the time, because you can get caught, and there actually are some pretty bad consequences.
Well, we'll get to those people who voted, who you might be really genuinely impressed at the act of...
Yeah, Wisconsin's been like... So Wisconsin basically is a union state that this organization called ALEC took over. They've done so much anti-democrat. They basically stole that state. They've stolen elections. You know, like they finally got rid of Scott Walker, but like, yeah, the bad shit has been happening in Wisconsin for decades, for about a decade.
Will that it takes us.
only example of ballot harvesting in my state was actually a Republican from my state in 2018.
Some of these Civil War veterans to have gone out and voted.
It is projection. I'd break the rules, so everyone else must be breaking the rules too. Right.
So, I mean, let's not take that away from them. But again, more.
How's it going, Maria?
Two more red flags there. Again, just an investigation. That's all I would like to see. I want answers to this. Why were these things allowed to happen? Then, of course, you have the votes that kept.
See, the thing is,
in the
I'm guessing that the answers to these questions are easily obtainable, possibly even on Snopes.
Rubbish. There was votes found dumped in a desert.
There were votes found dumped in a desert. Do you know how easy that would be to fake, though?
There were votes like the votes.
Wait, who found the votes? I was hiking in the middle of the desert, and I came across a large trove of what appeared to be mail-in ballots. They were sealed and filled out, so I opened each one, and to my surprise, found that they were all votes for Trump. They were all votes for Trump.
Literally found in a dumpster. And there was a video of them going, "Oh, look at all these Trump votes found in a dumpster."
Oh wait, how did you know they were Trump votes? How did you know there were Trump votes, though? You opened them? You interfered with voting? Shouldn't that be... Look, if you find a bunch of ballots that you think were thrown away, that's like a crime scene. You're not supposed to touch a crime scene, right? Like, if you find a murder that's going on, you don't, like, call the cops and then clean up the blood on the floor while they come, right? You leave everything intact so that, like, some kind of forensic analysis can be performed and maybe they can figure out what went on.
But this is just one
None of this shit makes any sense. You guys are full of shit and you're trying to steal the election.
Example of it. This was in Pennsylvania.
And it's not going to work. It's fucking pathetic. It's so bad. It's so bad, chat.
This is happening.
I would compare this to, like, has anybody ever seen The Dark Crystal? Okay. In The Dark Crystal, there's, like, these big evil birds called Skeksis, and they want to, like, drink the Gelfling essence. The Gelflings are these little cute, like, elf fairy gnome things, right? And there's this one Skeksis that's, like, trying to convince the Gelflings that he's like on their side and shit. And, you know, he's really just trying to drink their essence or something, but he's all like, no, Skeksis friends, Skeksis help, yes, Skeksis help. It's so fucking see-through. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not like they think they're being slick, but they're not. They're being so fucking obvious.
Various other locations. Again, who discarded the ballots?
I mean, might as well be like rubbing their hands together.
Like, we know someone must have put these mostly Trump ballots wherever, you know.
So transparent. I think Snopes has debunks on all these
in a rubbish bin wherever.
Allegations.
Someone must have done that. Are there any security cameras? Can we figure out where these votes have come from? Are they allowed to just take the votes out of the voting halls? You know, there are so many...
The Skeksis impression.
Questions. There's so many red flags. This, again...
Hey, what's up, Omni?
Yet another piece of really solid evidence that, at the very least, an investigation needs to take place. Like, genuinely shocking. Then you get the Project Veritas videos and the whistleblowers where you've got postal workers who are literally coming forward and saying things like, oh, late ballots are being processed for illegal counting because they're backdating them. So, you know, they can claim, oh, no, these arrived on the 3rd rather than the 4th or whatever the date was. And so you're, again, inflating the number of ballots that are valid. Just, why would you do that?
Oh, yeah, the Project Veritas stuff.
You know,
that's right.
Where did they get their orders? I think this is worthy of investigation because that is,
of course,
as they say,
you do.
illegal.
Of course, anything.
Again, another red flag. What we have to, like 6 or 7 red flags.
Anything that helps you cope, Sargon. Anything that helps you deny that Daddy Trump lost the election.
And we're about a third of the way through what I've got to go through. So, you know, then you get this one. We'll listen to this video because this is just like,
if all this wasn't enough.
Yo, somebody needs to just go up to Trump and be like, look, Trump, you can fool all the people some of the time. You can fool some of the people all the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time. And that reality check is gonna bounce. And when it does, Humpty Dumpty's gonna have a great fall. And all the king's horses and all the king's men aren't gonna be able to put back that eggy motherfucker back together again. It's not gonna happen, chat.
In Antrim County,
he's done. Okay.
Ballots were counted for Democrats that were meant for Republicans,
Trump is
causing
done.
a 6,000 vote swing against our candidates. The county clerk came forward.
Oh yeah, that's right. Project Veritas killed Acorn, or Obama let them.
And said tabulating software glitched and caused a miscalculation of the votes. Since then, we have now discovered.
Trying to medicate to I feel that.
That 47 counties use this same software.
Fooled me once, can't get fooled again.
In the same capacity. Antrim County had to.
Right now, that is surely enough to warrant an investigation. Some kind of investigation took place. I mean, I'm just saying, right?
I mean, surely this is enough to completely throw out the obvious results of the election that all of the fucking networks have called.
I find
that were it to be in Trump's favor, I would be 100% in favor of. Were all these irregularities to be found on the other side and Trump to have been declared the winner, I would have absolutely no problem with, and would accuse the Democrats of the utmost guile and disingenuousness were they to make claims that the election had been conducted in any way unfairly.
To believe that the software doesn't have some kind of error tracking mechanisms within it. And B, and this is the really big one, right? Counting votes is merely addition. There is no other calculation. You'd have to divide it by anything and, create some sort of fractal map or something, some giant mathematical formula. No, it's +1. That's all you do. If vote for candidate A, +1 for candidate A. If vote for candidate B, +1 for candidate
B. I mean, that sounds great, but it doesn't sound like how it works in the real world. Like you're assuming that you're never gonna add. You're assuming you're never gonna have a mistake.
So simple, a child could program the software to do it. I mean, I started programming in QBasic. Not in QBasic, it was just called
Basic. He's talking about software.
Back on an Amiga 500 when I was like 10 or 12 years old, something like that. And I remember, making.
Nice, that's so cool. It was a bad praxis emote. Fuck yeah.
These crappy programs, and so it's just really suspicious. And all 47 Michigan counties use the software. Michigan being, only 3.9% up. So not even a huge deal in that particular county by the numbers. But either way, it doesn't matter, does it? It's still illegitimate. But most concerningly, this is being used in, apparently, we got a problem in the chat, so 20 other states.
It's
very
like,
suspect.
Kennedy, right?
Very suspect. How can software glitch 6,000 votes? And the thing is as well, many of the states that have yet to be called, I mean, the votes, 6,000 votes could swing the state either way. So it doesn't even have to be that high a number at this point. But it really, again, something that should be investigated. Really suspicious.
Wait a minute, could 6,000 votes swing the state at this point? November 8th, so this is what, 2 days ago.
7, 8 red flags in, and we're still going. Then you get other election workers.
They're all like 20K, that's what I was thinking.
Who say things like this.
Just last night in Oakland County, we found 2,000 ballots that had been given to Democrats that were Republican ballots due to a clerical error, and this took place in Rochester Hills. In Wayne County, Republican poll watchers were denied their legal right to monitor the election and purposely kept in the dark.
Wait, I thought you said we should only add. So wait, do you want to only add, or do you think that if there's a mistake found, you can subtract?
Literally and figuratively.
Because otherwise we're just gonna have to I don't know what we're gonna do about those mistakes, Sargon.
Poll workers blocking windows and padlocking.
You said yourself.
There are hundreds.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when fucking armed a fucking armed mob tries to break into the voting counting facility and intimidate poll workers. That's what happens.
Of our poll watchers being intimidated and unable to do their job. There was a major software issue in Antrim County that we have concerns could have caused problems.
We'll stop there because it's basically all the same kind of problem.
Yeah, the tightest margin is in Georgia. It's 10K.
But you can see exactly the problem there. Why would poll watchers
Castlehead
be allowed in? There was a court judgment about this that they just ignored. The Republican, one Democrat poll watcher is supposed to be at each one, as I understand it, and see each ballot or something like that. And the Republican ones just went in. As said, they were intimidated, and a bunch of ballots were just counted for the other side. And again, the weird thing about all of these glitches and clerical errors and all that is they only go one way, don't they? They're never clerical errors in Trump's favor. It's so strange. It's just it's flipping a coin 100 times, and every time it's landing on its edge, and Joe Biden's like, I guess I'm just really lucky, guys. It really makes me think. Again, Another red flag. More evidence that something suspicious is going on. Why would they behave like this? Why would they be like, I should have got the video up of them literally boarding up the windows so people can't see.
Okay, I gotta say, I like Sargon way better at 1.5x than at 1.25x.
Why would they behave like that? If you want to transmit that you are having a free and fair and honest election, you don't board up the windows and prevent the other team's guys from watching what you're doing. Like, that's being opaque.
The other team's guys, you piece of shit. Where are you getting this from? Wait, whoa. This is the thing. This is like a huge gish gallop and a huge gaslight like that he's doing here. This is fucked up, okay? So he's talking about the poll workers. They are not Biden's team. They're poll workers. They're people. There's probably Biden people in there, and there's probably Trump people in there, just like the country has got Biden people and Trump people. Like, right? You're somehow assuming, like, dude, if it's Biden people that are counting the votes, you're fucked anyway. If that's how it works. But that's how Trump works. That's how his mind works. Anybody who's not fucking just verbally filleting the guy might as well be like an armed assassin. That's how they treat people. That's how they treat people. If you're not absolutely 100% trusting every word that comes out of the Trump administration, you are a dirty partisan who cannot be trusted. And like, so because the poll workers aren't just fucking like, you know, constantly singing the praises of Trump because they're supposed to be objective. Sargon's like, your people are doing this and they're not letting our people. No, those aren't our people. Those are the people. Those are the people whose job it is to count the fucking votes. And you know what else? We've got observers. In all these situations, there's observers already in there. There's usually like over 100 Democrats and over 100 Republicans, depending on the size of the district. Now, what happens is that these fucking jackasses show up with guns and laptops and like cameras and shit, and they're like, hey, where's the polls at? Where are they counting the votes? We want to see. Let us see. You got to let us see. Remember, there's supposed to be observers. And it's like, yeah, there's observers. There are observers. These are the observers right here. You had to sign up ahead of time to be an observer. I think you could probably sign up with the Republican Party. I think that's how it works. You sign up with the Democratic Party, you sign up with the Republican Party, the Republicans get a certain number, the Democrats get a certain number. Those people are in there. Those people are watching that. What they're not allowed to do is take pictures of the ballots and dox people and reveal who people voted for or people's personal information. Right? So when people came in there with fucking cameras, with fucking like notebooks, they didn't let them in. They said that's against the rules. Okay, you know, this is what you're allowed to have. You're allowed to watch it, and you know, like, yeah, no, they kept them 6 feet back to try to keep from giving the poll workers, you know, these vital people that are basically filling a necessary gap in our system to have an election. They're keeping them they're keeping the observers 6 feet away from them, right? And they're acting like this is some huge imposition. They're acting like this is like a fucking, this has never happened before. Holy shit, they're keeping the poll workers, they're keeping the observers. Those aren't observers. Those are fucking right-wing thugs trying to break into the polling place and intimidate people. And yeah, the cops are gonna keep them out. And yeah, they're gonna put fucking, like, you know, pizza boxes up on the windows. God,
you know, you're not being transparent. And the only reason I can think of that you would not want to be transparent,
this is such dog shit,
is if you're cheating. So done with this. Because everyone is well aware that when you're doing something of this magnitude, where both sides have got such heavy investments in it.
No, but like, that's it. Your side was in there. Your side was represented. You know what wasn't represented was fucking QAnon. I hope. Actually, probably QAnon was represented. I wouldn't be surprised. If you have 143 Trump voters in one room, what are the chances that one of them is not a QAnon? What are the chances? Those aren't good odds. Those are not good odds. If you got 143 Trump voters, you've got QAnon in there. QAnon's in that room. What the fuck do you have to complain about? God
Everyone
damn,
needs to be able to see what's going on. That just has to be the case. Otherwise, we just won't know.
But they do. That's what they do every single year. That's how that's how it's done, and that's how it's being done. And you're lying. You're omitting certain facts. You're distorting others. You're presenting a false narrative.
Then you have the Sharpie Gate, where apparently in Arizona, you had
everyone was given Sharpies because on the new polling equipment. See, I know every single one of these before you even say it, okay? They had old polling equipment. On that equipment, a Sharpie could cause problems, or it was really the ballots, right? So the Sharpie, if you used it on the old ballots, it would bleed through, and this side would be okay where you filled it out, but the other side would be fucked up, so it couldn't read. It would have errors based on the Sharpie. So they were like, no Sharpies, right? That was the rule for years and years and years. They got different ballots. They figured out, hey, if we put this bubble over here, and on the back side, this bubble goes over here, then we can use then we don't have to worry about bleed through, right? And then they tested out those ballots, and they found that out of all the pens you could use on them, Sharpies worked the best. So that's why Sharpies were handed out. And were they handed out to Republicans and not Democrats? No, they were handed out to both.
Election workers taking away pens from people and giving them Sharpies, despite the fact on the top of the ballot it says, do not use a Sharpie. A lawsuit
because it's an old
suit has now been filed because these ballots, I presume, have been cancelled because, I mean, they literally were filled out incorrectly on the orders of the election workers. Really makes me think another red flag. Again, why are these election workers saying things that, you know, do this thing that's illegal, do this thing that literally your ballot will get cancelled? Why would they want to do that? Who has put them up to it? Who's given them the instruction? Because I'm happy to believe that the poll workers just don't know anything about this. They're just taking instructions from on high. I'm happy to believe that. You know, I'm not saying the poll workers themselves have necessarily done something wrong, although I'm not going to pretend to be naive about it or anything like that. But again.
But you are going to go ahead and assume that all the poll workers are like fucking Soros operatives.
Worth investigating. Get the names of these people, interview these people, find out.
Like, this is what happens when you demonize the government in your mind. This is what happens when you have a fucking weird ass, like, you know, you call yourself a classical liberal, but half of the time you're just like fucking cap bullshit that comes out of your mouth half of the time, right? And when you think in Reagan-esque terms that like the most scary thing a person can say is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help, then you do start to see the government as the enemy. When you think of every single elected official that won't let Trump like just fucking screw our democracy like it was a beauty contest contestant, like I mean, you just create this world where like everybody's against you, and so it justifies all your bullshit conspiracy theories.
What's going on?
Everyone's viewpoint is discounted by the fact that they're not.
It seems like we're on like red flag
cult. This is a fucking cult.
10 at this point. How many red flags did this woman bring up? 2 or 3? Like 10 red flags in, and then we get to something called Benford's Law. Now
she couldn't take one question without fucking crying her eyes out and running off the stage. Like her, whatever batshit assertions she was making could not stand the light of day.
I'm just going to be very clear. I'm not a statistician. I know
she melted away.
Nothing about statistics. I'd never heard of Benford's Law, and so we'll be taking other people's views on this as anything interesting. So the basic premise of it, I don't really understand because I don't know about statistics, but it expects 30% of numbers in a list of transactions to begin with 1 and then steady dropping off with each additional integer. This is how they solve Enron's fraudulent numbers were exposed from deviations that could be legitimately expected. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the point of it is, but the data that is what is expected looks like this kind of curve. So initially you get a large number and then you get down to a small number on a fairly regular curve. And so Enron's fraudulent thing was because it deviated so far from this curve and then went up at the end. It's like, oh, that's really weird. These are not normal. And so you can apply this to like rigged elections in Iran, where, oh, look, you can see something weird's happening there.
Wait, whoa. What are you talking about? What was that Enron data that we were looking at? That wasn't like election data, was it?
So then you get Trump's numbers, which this is Biden's numbers, sorry, which are weird. Like they're much lower than Benford's Law might expect, but then they go up in this big like hump there. That's really weird. Whereas Trump's are fairly, consistent. The curve is there and it's identifiable. So it looks, as far as these statisticians are concerned, like Trump's votes are organic. Look at that.
What's could it be that Trump's votes are in person and Biden's votes are mail-in? Could it be that what you're seeing is the difference between mail-in ballots and fucking in-person voting? God damn it, Sargon.
You just happen to be the most popular president ever. That's what it is.
Like, I don't even know what we're looking at. What are these graphs? What? Benford's Law, first digit of Karubi. Okay, so this is... What does he even explain? digit. Okay, first digit. I don't know what we're fucking looking at. Percentage of occurrence for occurring first. Of what occurring first? Yo, like there is no like
about it or anything like that. But again,
I'll give him another chance.
The names of these people, interview these people, find out.
But I think he's bamboozling his audience. Like, I don't think there was any information of like what the fuck we were looking at or
what's going on. This all seems like we're on like red flag, what, 9, 10 at this point? How many red flags did this woman bring up? 2 or 3? Like 10 red flags in. And then we get to something called Benford's Law. Now, I'm just going to be very clear. I'm not a statistician. I know.
So you don't understand this either, but you're going to show it to us and be like, this is what smart people think. And like, this applies to this, even though I can't explain it to you. It just trust me that it applies, even though I don't really understand it myself.
Nothing about statistics. I'd never heard of Benford's Law. And so we'll be taking other people's views on this as anything interesting. So the basic premise of it, I don't really understand because I don't know about statistics, but it expects 30% of numbers in a list of transactions to begin with 1 and then a steady dropping off with each additional integer. This is how they solve Enron's fraudulent numbers were exposed from deviations that could be legitimately expected. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the point of it is, but the data that is what is expected looks like this kind of curve. So initially you get a large number and then you get down to a small number on a fairly regular curve. And so Enron's
okay, so what transactions are these? Are these just like every single transaction a company does in a year? So like every time they buy Staples, like ostensibly?
Was because it deviated so far from this curve and then went up at the end. It's, oh, that's really
or
weird.
Every time they get paid by a customer, like, we're just like looking at the first digit.
These are not normal, and so you can apply this to like rigged elections in Iran. Where, oh look, you can see something weird's happening there. So then you get Trump's numbers, which Trump was. Oh no, this is Biden's numbers. Sorry, which are weird. Like they're much lower than.
See, I don't even know what like Trump Biden. Okay, so that's Trump. Oh, Benford's Law. Okay, so the orange one is expected. Trump's are close to the expected. Closer to the expected. Actually, probably I mean, like, I want to know what statistical significance looks like on this graph, but this looks like statistically below the expected. Now, granted, there's more deviation over here in some of Biden's numbers, but anyway, I don't even know what we're looking at, so this is fucking slimy tomes and mome rats to me anyway.
Benford's Law might expect, but then they go up in this big like hump.
Oh my god, chat! I don't know. This is gonna have to be like 8 videos or something.
Whereas Trump's a fairly
like, are we gonna ever get through this? I don't know. So look, Sargon's a fucking beast. Why is he? Does he usually stream this long?
As far as these statisticians are concerned, like Trump's votes are organic. Look at that. What's going on there, Biden? What's going on? He just happened to be the most popular president ever. That's what it is. Popular candidate in the world.
So wait. Are they then using, like, the transactions would be the numbers of votes that were, you know, tallied at once, basically? Is that what the transactions are there? I don't know if... Okay, so Benford's Law seems to apply to financial transactions. Why is it that it would follow that an election, which includes both in-person and vote by mail, would operate by the same laws as like a corporation's this doesn't make any sense, Sargon. All you've told me is that people smarter than you like think that this means that Biden's numbers are fraudulent.
Well, I get it.
I don't trust your ability to assess intelligence. Forgive me, Sargon, but I have zero faith.
Get it. Everyone just loves you.
Because if you're not smart enough to know what the graphs mean, you're not smart enough to know who really knows what they're talking about when they talk about the graphs.
There have been lots of
like Sargon, I could probably trick you into thinking that like I could probably give you an explanation for those graphs that you'd buy, and especially if it reinforced Trump somehow. If I told you, I bet I could tell you any story that I wanted to. I could make up any story about how those numbers, like, prove that Biden is a dirty, dirty man and that Trump won. And you would believe me. I could tell you anything I wanted to, because all you're looking for to get to here is cope. That is all the addict's mind can think of, is where to get my next hit of cope.
People talking about this with lots of different breakdowns of it, but again, I'm no expert.
Sargon,
but red flag. That's all.
It would be irresponsible for me not to tell you that the cope isn't going to solve your problems.
But it's just another red flag 11 for us to go into. Should there be an investigation?
It makes things feel better, but it doesn't make things better. It makes them objectively worse. All us fucking normies, you accuse us of what is that error? Like exactly.
Voter fraud or not. And I think that if it's good enough for us to
vermin or bust,
assume voter fraud in Iran, it's good enough for us to assume voter fraud anywhere else. Right, then you get I know we went through the turnout, but the down ballot voting. This was another thing.
There's one deceptive graph that can show that there's a discrepancy for Trump's too, if the in the Benford's numbers. I wish I was like just visually seeing something that looked like it. I mean, like, and granted, like they weren't showing a margin of error, but like something that looked beyond the margin of error in Trump's vote and Trump's numbers.
Again, that was very, very interesting. So you on the ballots, for anyone who's not an American, and for any Americans, let me know if I get this right. I think I did. I think I will. You have
chat. I want like a chocolate cookie and like milk. I don't even care. I just want like, oh my god, like Oreo would be fine, or just some kind of chocolate cookie.
The presidential candidate.
I mean, and not like actual milk, like some like kind of fake milk, but still.
You have state or local candidates for local affairs. And
I made the mistake of buying myself chocolate last night, and now like I want more chocolate.
And you've got the Democrats, you've got the Republicans, and then whatever third parties. And on Trump's one, is it in this thread? Right. So yeah. So after they go through the data that they've got, they say that the number of people who voted for Trump but not for Whitman, so
I'm so full of Chinese
district they're talking about here, is, as I say, 1% of Trump voters who couldn't be bothered to vote for the person in Congress. So on a ballot that says Trump, 99% of them also voted for the person below. And why wouldn't you? You're filling out a ballot, I want the Republicans to win, yeah, Republican.
Come on, until like the very end.
Right, but for the Democrat ones, for Biden, 34% of them didn't vote at all for a down ballot candidate, which is really, really weird. I mean, that's a huge number. 34% of the Democrats are like, yeah, I don't care about the governors. And the thing is, like, these people have
That's not really that surprising. Yeah.
Real power. They have real ability to make changes in their local communities. And if you just take the aggregate of local communities and then abstract it, suddenly you're looking at massive Republican power across the United States, just not in the position of the presidency. But I get the feeling that the mindset of the Democrats doesn't really register that. They seem to be sort of like ultimate power is the ultimate. They don't seem to really, I mean, I feel that they feel.
That's what the Oreo has been hiding from us all these years. Oreo is a ripoff of Hydrox from 8 years earlier. The truth is out there. Yo, Hydrox is pretty good.
They can just change the system, and they do everything they can to change the system whenever they can, don't they? Because the problem is that the system is holding them back from their glorious victory. But anyway, getting back to this, really, really large number of people didn't vote for a down ballot candidate, which, if you were going to be cynical, suggests that they had basically a factory of people pumping, just out these votes by just tick, tick, tick. We need 100,000 of these. If you're going to be cynical about it, like, if you thought there was a vote fraud operation going, this would be
no, not if you're going to be cynical. If you're going to be a fucking cope fiend,
be the mindset of the people involved.
And you are absolutely every single minute of the day. It's like thinking of a way to like be like, no, but Trump didn't really lose. No, but what if there was like a bunch of Biden, like moms for Biden, and they're like making the ballots, they're like pumping out the ballots, they're like printing them out, they've got these stamps, they're just stamping the ballots, and then they hand it to this woman, she stamps the voting for Biden, and then she moves it on to the next person in the line, and they send the ballot out, and all it's got is one, just the vote for Biden. Like here's what's fucked up. He thinks that could happen. He thinks that they could do that. They could just stamp Biden, but no down ballot. But they couldn't do Biden, Senator, just to give Biden a Senate, Biden, Senator, House, Democratic House. Like, it's not really that much harder. It's not really that much slower. If you think that they're gonna steal the election, why didn't they go all the way and really steal the election?